I was mad at the world, man.
Why?
Because of the situation I had. I mean, like, I always had, and it was wrong on my behalf, but I always had like this idea that life should have been perfect, and that mom and dad should have been together, and you know, why does everybody else have it and not me? Not understanding, dude, it doesn't matter. Even if you have mom and dad at home, like, you know, shit still happens, you know, like you still have arguments at home, you still have all these things at home. I was just very ignorant at the time, and my anger was, it had me blinded at the time. You know, I wasn't intelligent enough at the time to realize, dude, you're not the only one in the situation. Like, it's not a mom and dad issue. It's a part of life issue. It's you growing up issue. Is you finding yourself issue. Because I guarantee you can go talk to your neighbor or to the guy or the gal sitting next to you in class, in algebra class, and you start to ask them, and you start to talk to them about the things that you're experiencing, whether they have both parents at home or not. They're still going through some of the same stuff. Like, it's part of life, you know. It's part of growing up. It's part of finding yourself and figuring out who you are, you know, developing a personality. But somehow I went down this road of just being mad for a long time.
What point did that break?
What is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Brothers from Another Mother, where we talk about the trials and tribulations in everyday entrepreneurship. I can't get over how good this fucking sounds, man. For those who don't know me, my name is Alex Maldonado.
And I'm Renee Atkinson, guys.
And here we are, episode 9. I think you were the one who told me, you went to an event, right, where they told you in El Paso, they searched, and I think the average podcast only has how many episodes?
So it was, it was one episode, but it was like every 3 months.
Damn.
So once you put, they said, if you get on and you do 10 episodes, they said, if you do an episode today, you will be ranked first in El Paso.
Wow.
Because so many people don't do this.
Damn. Yeah, we started, I think it was the first week of January. So here we are, second week now? February? First week? Second week.
Yeah, second week.
And we're close to 10 episodes, man. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
And we're going to start recording a lot more now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we have
it'll be even better.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a really good treat coming. It's cooking. Yeah. And I think it'll be good for the community, man. We need to start bringing more people like him down to El Paso so he can interact, you know, with the people. He's actually from Ciudad de Mexico.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's out from Portland, Oregon, but his roots go back to Ciudad de Mexico. He speaks Spanish, and he's doing really good things on Instagram and YouTube, and you know, he's been doing it since 2019. Has a couple 100,000 followers on Instagram and TikTok, and he's big into fatherhood. He has a business of his own, so I think that'll be cool, man. And we'll talk about it more as we get all the details ironed out.
Yeah,
but it'll be amazing, man.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. So we're gonna turn the tape a little bit. I wanna dig deep into you and who you are, and you know, who's the man that leads CMT Holdings. So I know that you were raised in Sanelli, right? Sanelli, Texas.
Yeah.
So what was your upbringing like? And the reason why I want to ask you about that is because how did you go from the upbringing that you had to being to having the position that you're in right now? You know, so
yeah, I don't think I ever like, if I were to try to go back and uncover when it happened, I don't think I could really nail it down and pinpoint when exactly it happened. But what I can say is that eventually in my business career, I knew that if I really wanted to take this to the next level, then it was going to require way more than what I was doing. Now, mind you, I did talk in the first episode about, when I was around 13 or 14, I knew I was different.
Okay.
So I was a very rebellious child where I didn't take orders very well. So I knew at that point, okay, more than likely the odds of me always working for someone, the odds of that happening are very low. Although I did it for 10 years, I was always very, I was not fulfilled. And, you talked to my mom the other day for a little bit. And what was she telling you? Acá siempre me andaba molestando con que empezáramos un negocio. Because I knew that it was not something that I was going to be able to do long term. Now,
what were you not going to be able to do long term?
Work for someone.
Work for someone else?
Yeah.
But you were thinking this at 14?
No. At 14, what I was trying to figure out is how was I going to sustain working for someone when I was a horrible order taker.
Okay.
But I didn't know how I was going to do it. Like, never through my mind did it ever cross, okay, you're going to go start a business. It was just like more of fear. Like, what am I going to do? Because I can't stand when somebody tells me what to do. Like when the lunch lady would tell me, hey, es nomás una leche. ¿Por qué? I want another one. Oh, no pues, you can't get seconds. Why not? I want another plate. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
So even things that were that simple, I already knew, like, I'm going to have a very hard time when I grow up. And I did. Like, I got fired from 4 different jobs.
Where did you work before?
So the first job that I was fired from was First Convenience Bank.
Okay.
The banks inside the Walmarts. I started as a personal banker, made it all the way up to a branch supervisor. And then I got fired because, so this is the way it played out. We had, at the time, the branch manager that promoted me as a supervisor, weeks later ended up leaving. She followed her husband out to Odessa. He was in the oil and gas industry. So she took off. And here comes a new manager who, at the time, the bank had just introduced a loan that was called a Fresh Start loan. And the way it worked is if you had direct deposit, it would take the last 3 months of direct deposits, and then it would average how much you were depositing per week. And then it would give you an amount and say, okay, this person qualifies for a $500 loan based on his deposits.
Okay.
So the bank was trying to push this loan, and we were selling the shit out of it.
Okay.
So this manager was trying to make a name for himself and started, getting very creative as to how he was giving out these loans, to the point where he even started giving these loans to employees, which was a big no-no. They told us right off the bat, this loan is for everyone who has direct deposit, with the exception of employees.
Okay.
And he said, I'm going to do it anyway. So he ended up giving me one, which I agreed to. Okay. And I knew what we were doing.
Okay.
And I told him, I said, look, just make sure that you put this through today's batch, because if you don't, my account's going to be overdrawn tomorrow and it's going to raise a red flag. Oh, yeah. And I was even with Leslie at the time when this happened. She was sitting in the office with me, and he even told me, he's like, you're the customer right now. I'm in charge. Like, you don't have to tell me how to run the operation. I know what I need to do. I said, fine, all right. And the reason I told him was because I had seen this shit happen over and over again. Long story short, wake up the next day, my account's overdrawn. It raised all the red flags that I didn't want to raise. And within a week, the regional manager from the area, where we were in an office, and I was getting fired over it. And I didn't throw him under the bus.
Yeah.
But I could have easily. Told him that shit was his doing, man. Like, I told him. But I took responsibility. And I said, okay, fine. Then from there, I went to go work for Fred Loya. The only job I didn't get fired from. I went to go work for Fred Loya. But at the time, I was applying for Union Pacific. And then 3 months later, I found myself in Laredo, Texas, working for Union Pacific. I was a conductor in training. I was training there. Managers, as we were out in the field working, managers, which I ended up doing further down in my career, but managers would go out and test crews and see what they were doing, make sure we were on compliance, safety-wise and all that. So my second day on the job, after being hired a month, my second day on the job, managers rushed one of our cabs, and I was just a trainee at the time, but I was with the engineer, brakeman, and a conductor. And they were going to town on them, man. Like, you guys just broke all these rules, and you guys are being so unsafe, and blah, 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 all this shit. And I was just like, oh, fuck, what's going on? And my smart ass, like always, well, you guys are talking all this crap about these men, but you haven't been out here in the heat, 110-degree weather, and they've been showing me all this. Here I am thinking I'm a badass, I didn't have union protection at the time.
Dang.
So they couldn't do shit to them, but guess who they could? Me.
Yeah.
So literally, bro, a month and a half into it, boom, they fired my ass. Then I went to go work for that shoreline. And at the time, working for that shoreline, applying for BNSF. And I got fired from there too for running my mouth. And then I came to BNSF, and then that's where I finished my railroad career. But multiple times I was getting fired because I couldn't control my emotions or my mouth. I couldn't put up with seeing people being treated this way. And I always felt the need or the urge to speak up and say, this is unfair. And I don't care who you are. Not just because you have a title, it means that you can just fucking swing your dick around and impose your authority just because you can.
Yeah. Like,
if once we're out of here, like if I see you in a restaurant, you're nobody. So that kind of shit bothered me all the time, bro.
Now, is this something that just you have, or is this something that runs in the family? How many brothers and sisters, or how many do you have?
So it's three of us. I'm the middle child. Mm-hmm. We're like that. We just can't stand when people tell us what to do. But I think it also has to do because of our upbringing. We raised ourselves, so we always had to be on this high horse of protecting ourselves and being wary of people. And I think that just by default kind of wired us to be that way too.
When you say raise yourself, like your mom was in your picture, your dad was in the picture?
Mom was in the picture, but she was always working, So yeah. I mean, it was to the point where whenever she saw it was fit, and I think it was the summer of my 6th grade year. I remember having to go and register myself to school because my mom was always working. So ever since 6th grade, then after that, like we were just literally on our own most of the time because she was so busy working.
Dad wasn't in the picture.
Dad was in the picture, but he worked also. And it was interesting. I mean, I grew up being very resentful because my biological father was not in the picture. So although he was there and he was really trying to be there, it was like he wasn't for me. Not.
So you had resentment towards him, or to your mom?
Towards my mom.
Okay.
Towards my mom, and
because she was trying to move on in life, or because she wasn't with him?
No, because so especially I think it started to get even bigger when I started to play sports, and you always saw the father-son bond happening, where the father's in the stands and he's watching his son play and cheering for him, and there I was, making a play or hitting a home run or whatever, and nobody was there, Yeah. And I would start to blame her without even, because I wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, but because you were in emotional pain, there was so much built up emotional pain. You were missing, you were lacking on that.
Yeah.
And other people had it and you didn't.
Yeah.
That's tough, man. That's tough.
And I've told her before. She
yeah.
knows. And she's apologized for it. And now we've had a better relationship because of it.
And that's at the same time though, that's difficult, right? Because how is she, apologizing for something that she in reality had to do because she had to put food on the table or had to keep a roof over your heads. So it's actually really considerate of her to even apologize because she's saying, like, I apologize you feel this way, and I apologize that I wasn't able to be there more, but that's a heavy burden for her to also carry.
Yeah.
Knowing that she wasn't there for you, but there was no other way to do it. She had to, have the jobs that she had. Because like the saying goes, right? When you have time, you don't have money. When you don't have money,
When you have
money, you don't have time.
Yeah.
And if the breadwinner is at home, there's a problem.
Yeah.
So she had, unfortunately at the time she had to, be at work all the time.
Yeah.
Wow. So did that make you and your brother be really close? I mean, you guys were the ones that were at home after school, I'm assuming, and cooking food for yourselves. How old were you at this point?
At what point?
At the time where, let's say when you were playing baseball.
That I can remember, I'm going to say 7th grade. So I was 13.
7th grade, so 13 years
13,
old.
14 at the time. Yeah. And I was kind of like you, especially in middle school. When I got to high school, I always found a way to at least get a C.
Mm-hmm.
But in middle school, I played 3 weeks baseball, and then I failed and I couldn't play anymore. And then in 8th grade, the same thing. I played the first 3 weeks, and then I failed and I couldn't play anymore. But
when you failed, would you get pissed off like me and try to put it on the teachers?
On the teacher.
I'd be like, you know what? Like, I was trying, even if my freaking efforts were shit, but it was like, I was trying. Therefore, since I failed, now I'm not gonna freaking try, and I'm gonna really hurt you. The fuck are you hurting, bro? You're not hurting anybody but yourself.
Yeah.
But at the time I was like, oh, I'm gonna make you look bad. I'm gonna make your class look bad. No, jackass, the freaking 35 or 34 other people in the classroom can freaking pass, but your ass can't. You're that one person. Yeah. So were you like that as well?
Yeah, I was like that. I was mad at the world, man.
Why?
Because of the situation I had. I mean, like, I always had, and it was wrong on my behalf, but I always had like this idea that life should have been perfect, and that mom and dad should have been together, and why does everybody else have it and not me? Not understanding, dude, it doesn't matter. Even if you have mom and dad at home, shit still happens,
Yeah.
like you still have arguments at home. You still have all these things at home. I was just very ignorant at the time. And my anger was, it had me blinded at the time. I wasn't intelligent enough at the time to realize, dude, you're not the only one in the situation. Like it's not a mom and dad issue. It's a part of life issue. It's you growing up issue. Is you finding yourself issue. Because I guarantee you can go talk to your neighbor or to the guy or the gal sitting next to you in class, in algebra class, and you start to ask them, and you start to talk to them about the things that you're experiencing, whether they have both parents at home or not. They're still going through some of the same stuff. Like it's part of life. It's part of growing up. It's part of finding yourself and figuring out who you are, developing a personality. But somehow I went down this road of just being mad for a long time.
What point did that break?
Until recently.
Really?
Yeah. we were talking about it right now. I mean, maybe 3 years ago, when I decided to actually pick up a book and start reading and learning.
And that's like, what, 29?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's kind of when I woke up. Because although I was being responsible, which is what a lot of men, that's the understanding that we have. Mm-hmm. We're being responsible by providing for our families and making sure they have a home and making sure that they have food to eat. We're doing the basic stuff. We're taught that that's it. That's all we're supposed to do. But it really isn't. You know, it's just not many men are courageous enough to, I call it washing the dirty vehicle. How many times do you walk out to your driveway and you notice that your vehicle is dirty, but you don't wash it?
Okay.
Until it bothers you enough that then you say, okay, it's been 3 months. I got to go over there and wash my vehicle. And the same happens to us, like our personalities. We know something's wrong. Mm-hmm. We know something's wrong, but we don't have the courage to change it because it doesn't bother you enough. And what kind of makes up for you feeling that way momentarily is going to work and feeling like you're the breadwinner and coming back home. And if anything is thrown at you, your defense mechanism is, I was at work all day. Do you see open up the fridge? Is there food? Yeah. Okay. The lights are on? Yeah. Water? Gas? Your car? Good?
Then
yeah.
I'm fine.
Leave me alone.
Yeah. Then I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm doing my part.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But it was about 3 years ago when I realized, yeah, man, you got a lot of work to do, buddy.
So growing up, did you have, I mean, I know you said your biological father you didn't have in the picture. Mm-hmm. Who did you hold as a hero or as a mentor? Because there's got to be a stick, right? There's got to be a stick that kind of keeps the tree straight. So was that, I mean, who were you pretty responsible, of your own actions, or did you have someone that you actually admired or looked up to that helped you, if you did screw up, you didn't screw up too much or you didn't go too far, that kind of kept you in line?
I didn't have anybody, bro. But quite honest with you, I mean, I did have people that were there for me. I mean, honestly, my older brother was somebody that I looked up to. I still wouldn't change it because it's gotten me to where I am today. But I didn't have anybody like a father figure or somebody that would check me.
Did it be your mom?
Yeah, but still, the truth is that she was not my father.
Yeah,
she was my mother.
Yeah,
and because I don't want you to get it twisted. Mm-hmm. As far as her being a mother, dude, I'm going to say blessed, mm-hmm. but I'm the luckiest fucking guy when it comes to a mom.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, my mom is a bad woman.
I know she is.
She's a bad woman, and I will give her credit any day. Any day. As far as a mother, bro. But she wasn't my father.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth.
Yeah. And a lot of mothers, a lot of single mothers think they have to somehow become the father.
No.
Or that, the child is, a lot of times women will jump into a relationship because they want to provide that father figure for their child.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, but I don't want to take anything away from her, man. Like, she, as far as being a mother, bro, I mean, she, and there is, the fact is that in general, mothers play a larger role in a sense to their children than a father. So at least I was blessed enough that it wasn't my mother that I was lacking. It was my father, and now I'm able to understand that. But not only did I have a mother, I had a fucking badass mother, bro.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I'm this parenting book that I'm reading right now, like very small things apply to my childhood. Because my mother never told me, oh, you can't do this, or you're too stupid to do this, or you'll never reach your goals. Like, never, bro. Never. Like, it didn't matter what I would present her with. You'll figure it out. You'll get it done. How many parents tell you no?
Yeah.
How many parents tell you, no, you're either dreaming too big, or you're not made for that, or we're going to have to try something different? And my mom never said that.
So even if you were like, you know, you say you were being a bad kid, you were doing all kinds of stuff. A lot of times you run into where the parents will say, you know, if you continue down this path, or you're going to end up in jail, or, you know, you're going to end up on the street corner, stuff like that. Was that stuff ever said to you?
Maybe. I really can't recall. Maybe she just said, I don't want you to end up there.
Yeah.
She didn't say you will
end
up. She said, I don't want you to end up in that situation. Which, as I'm getting older and wiser, words matter.
Yeah.
The way you present it to your children matters.
And that's why I ask you, because, you know, myself included, I have to keep myself in check, because my middle child is really difficult, man. He's really hard-headed, or I guess better yet, he's very strong-willed. And so sometimes I catch myself wanting to say to him what was said to me, and at some point we have to break the cycle. So I'll tell him something along the lines of, like, you know, you continue like this, you're gonna end up on the street corners, or, you know, go and start learning how to do something, you know, because you're not gonna become that engineer or that whatever that you want to do, because, you know, you're acting this way, or you're not wanting to be at school or go to school or whatever. You're not wanting to do your homework. And I realize that I can't be doing that, because I am actually not wishing him, but I'm using that black magic, you know, to speak those wrong things. So I need to stop doing that stuff.
And believe me, I'm not gonna give this thought and excuse myself at the same time, because I am at fault for acting this way too. But let's say you were using right now the example of my child being an engineer, or my child being let's say a lawyer or a doctor. What gives us the right to talk about that stuff? Because I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an engineer, I'm not a doctor, I'm none of that stuff. I don't even know what it takes. So how can I tell my child, if you don't behave a certain way, you'll be on a street corner? Have you ever been on a street corner? No, you haven't. Yeah. So why are we saying that? I haven't gone. I've said other stuff that are just as equal as telling my son you'll be on a street corner. What gives me the right to say that?
Yeah, no, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to bring in the parents or the mothers of all these people that have become lawyers, and we can say what kind of kid was so forth, you know, was so and so.
Well, and you're going to be very surprised, I guarantee you, when you start to hear what they were like.
They're going to be like, he was really hard-headed, and he always asked why, and he always talked back, and he always want to prove his point. It's like, well, shit, that's a fucking lawyer. He's been a lawyer all his life.
Dude. But, you know, it's a touchy subject for me now, because now that I understand, and I've told you this before, now that you have the information, it's your obligation to not be that way anymore. Before, you would play the card, oh, pues que no sabía, I didn't know. But now you know.
Yeah, there's no excuses now.
There's no excuse, bro. Yeah. Like, you can't be doing that stuff no more. But yeah, man, I don't want to go on a rant about that stuff.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to go on a rant, man. It shows that there's passion behind it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then fast forward, what point did you decide that the convenience store life was going to be where you went?
So the way it started, it was that my mom, right down the street, there was an old Citgo gas station. Mm-hmm. Well, we'll go even further back. My mom, since I can remember, I think I was probably 10 at the time, she had a tables and chairs and jumping balloon rental business. So that was kind of the way we got money for the weekend. And then, fast forward to I'm 22 at the time, give or take. She found this place that was for lease, which used to be an old Citgo gas station, but she didn't want to run the gas. So we're just going to get the convenience store. So we got in touch with the landlord. He said, yeah, let's do this. A day before signing, they end up leasing to a church. My mom is devastated. And then we find the first gas station in San Eli at the time, 2012, 13. We found that place for lease literally days after they told us that the convenience store had been leased. So then we ended up pulling the trigger on that. And it's not like we ever sat down and we said, this is what we want to do. Like, we have a passion for gas stations and convenience stores. It was more out of desperation that we needed to change. Like, we needed to do something different. And we just happened to land on convenience store gas stations. And man, have we developed a respect for the industry, because it's just like any other business, right? But it's a tough industry to be in. But we enjoy it too. I mean, we've learned so much. It challenges you, and that's part of life, is being challenged. And we enjoyed it, man. I mean, I would have never met you if we wouldn't have been doing this, So that's kind of how we landed in convenience stores and gas stations.
So at that point, your mom didn't want to do the gas station, the fuel part of it. So in this other place, you did do the fuel.
Yeah. And the first one, it was just going to be a convenience store. And then when that option was off the table and we went to the other option, now it's like, yeah, you can do the convenience store, but you also have to do the gas station, which at that point we were already lost. Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? I
mean, just the convenience store part is difficult. You're already lost there.
Yeah.
And then they include fuel.
Yeah. Then we were like, whoa, what the hell? And the man that introduced us to the way it all worked, who already passed, his name is Mr. Charles Engel. He was a blessing in the sky too, man. I mean, he was very old school. And the contract with him was a handshake and a one-pager, man. And the only reason we had a one-pager is because he said his kids had been telling him, like, Dad, this is not the wild, wild west anymore. You can't be doing stuff like that anymore. You got to have something on paper. All right, well, just give me one piece of paper where it says that we're entering a contract, and that's it. So that's really all it was, man. And
so with no experience, and he was willing to go on a limb and trust you guys with running that business.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's rare.
That's very rare.
Yeah.
That's very rare. I mean, he taught us a lot about business with just a couple interactions, not many words were exchanged. It was just something as simple as a handshake, and your word mean more than any contract. Always be respectful. Let people know that, when they cut a deal with you, you're going to come through. Like, very simple stuff, man. And that's why sometimes I see you get, what's the word I'm looking for? How my mom is very about her word. Like, I told him that I was going to do this.
Yeah.
And it was because of that man that said, if you ever say something, you have to come through. As much as it hurts, You have to come through because word spreads very fast, especially in this industry. People know you're screwing people over, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. So we took that to heart, and it served as well. Sometimes it hurts. Like when I do see people coming out with aguas frescas, I'm like, but we gave our word, man, and it's paid as well. It's paid as well to be that way.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, so I'll give a little bit of backstory for what you're saying right there. So we have a restaurant that's in our gasoline station, and so what happens is that since I became part of the team, I said we need to be the only ones that are providing the refreshment for whatever they're providing. So if they're providing the food, then they should only be providing the food, no drinks. But because they gave their word to the people, the company leasing the restaurant, and in that agreement there was that they could include drinks, then they're doing that. But I came into the picture and I said, hey, we need to change that, and we need to only have them provide the food so that we can make something on our part from the sale of a drink. And I got nothing but resistance from your mom, because she gave her word that they could always have drinks, and so that's admirable, and I honored that.
Yeah.
So, okay, and so wait, but you're working for Union Pacific, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you're working for Union Pacific, and who's running the business? Who's running the one gasoline station or the one convenience store?
So yeah, we didn't have when I was employed by the Shoreline in 2013. That's when the business was started. So when I was with Union Pacific, the business was still not operating. Okay. That was in 2011, and then 2012, I worked temporarily for the oil and gas industry. I was there for a few months, and then from there I went to the Shoreline, and then I was there all the way up to 2017 for that Shoreline. Mm-hmm. So that was where most of the time that's where I spent most of the time while the first store was getting built. And the way that played out was in 2013, my mom after almost 30 years ended up leaving the workforce and stopped working for somebody after 30 years. Wow. She went to go work the store.
So it's never too late, huh?
It was never too late, man.
Yeah. And she, what background did she have in running a business?
None. Other than the tables and chairs and a journal. And we still run the business like that. So for the people that believe I need to buy all these softwares, and I need to learn how to use QuickBooks, and I need to learn I need to have an HR department. Dude,
at least to get started, right?
Yeah.
You don't need more than that.
No. And you're going to wear all the hats in the beginning, and you're not going to know what the fuck you're doing. You're going to be a firefighter for a long time. That's just the truth. Yeah. Okay. You're going to be a firefighter. You're going to be putting out fires every day. And then by the time you're putting one out, there's another one starting already. You got to go put that one out and so on. And then you're changing hats from the plumber to the electrician to the cash register to the manager to the stocker. I mean, that's just how it is.
And it's not one store anymore.
No. No.
And there's a petroleum imaging company that's wrapped up there in that as well.
Yeah. But that's why we can talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Because anybody can challenge us if they want, and they can say, no, that's not the way it works.
Yeah. And you see the reason why I asked that question and I pick at certain little things is because and I'm glad you mentioned it, is because it doesn't take much to get started, man. No. Like, luckily you had that opportunity, and so now you guys started this and it's been running this way now. We're changing things little by little because we've gotten to the point where we're about to bust and we need to change things. But up to now, I mean, there's 4 stores involved, and the petroleum imaging company, and now we're getting a gym started, and all of this was created and has ran with writing on an envelope, writing on envelopes. So for everyone out there that thinks that they can't get it started or they can't do it because they don't have all this money to invest, man, it takes an envelope, it takes determination, and it takes action. Put those things and you're good to go.
Yep.
So then now you become part of the company, and now you're starting to do your part as well.
Yeah.
Right. You're no longer working for the railroad. You're no longer working for the shoreline. And so did everything just continue going the way it was? Now we hit 2019. So 2019, you had an epiphany, and life changed for you. So you were already working since 2017 with the stores, right? You were already involved with the stores.
No, I was involved since day one.
Okay.
But
now more so.
Yeah, now more so. Like now I was full time. My first year full time was 2021.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's when I quit my job. I quit my job November of 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, and I came full time in January of 2021.
Now, what point did you start making the change within Alex?
2021.
2021.
Yeah.
And so when that change happened with you, what did you start doing differently, or did you start doing anything at all differently with the stores, with the business?
Not immediately, no.
Okay.
Because I knew I was going to get a lot of resistance, and I wasn't ready to handle that resistance. It was all I was going to do is open up a can of worms, and then I wasn't going to know how to act or how to approach the situation, how to coach people.
Because you hadn't worked on yourself yet.
No. So, but I was smart enough already to know it's going to be a process, and you're going to have to work on yourself. You're going to have to develop all these habits. You're going to have to unbecome. You're going to have to rewire. You're going to have to relearn a lot of things. And I went on a mission. I went on a mission to start doing that once I understood that there's no profession that's going to make you become successful. It's the person that becomes successful, because you can take this person right now, Alex, and place me in any other business right now, and I will be able to perform because of who I became, right? So I think a lot of us get that twisted to where they believe that I'm going to go study, for example, to be a civil engineer because that is a very successful career. No. Engineering isn't what makes you successful. Who you become. Now that you've become that person, you can go be the best doctor, you can go be the best engineer, you can be the best lawyer, be the best entrepreneur until you become.
There has to be a change in you first.
Yes. It's not a career change. Mm-hmm. Because how many people do that as well? Oh, this company is not working out. I'm going to go to another one. Grass will be greener on the other side. Happens in marriage too.
Yeah, it happens a lot at universities.
Yes. I'm going to change majors.
Yeah. How many times do they change those majors?
A lot.
Because they don't even know who the hell they are.
No.
Yeah.
So before I started to make all the changes, and you've been part of most of the change. I'm just being very honest with you. My push just started, and you've been part of it. Previous to this, I wasn't really pushing much. I was underwater, holding my breath, and doing a lot of inner work. Just now, as you came on board, I've been pushing harder and harder. And sometimes I push you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I push other team members. But it's because I can also handle it. You know, I know how to ruffle the feathers a little bit and then get everything back into place. And even if I can, I'm okay with making a mistake. Yeah. I'm in a good place now where if I make a mistake and if you approach me and you tell me you make me feel a certain way, or I don't think you approached this the right way, hey, I can apologize because it was an honest mistake. Because I will tell you this, you'll never catch me being demeaning. Not that. I'll never call you stupid. I'll never call you slow. I'll never do any of that. I will positively peer pressure the shit out of you and tell you need to be better, but I'll never be demeaning towards your character or your personality. That I wouldn't be okay with apologizing for, because I wouldn't be okay with myself being that way. But when I'm trying to positively peer pressure somebody and they don't react well to it, I can apologize. You know, I can say, hey, my bad.
So what of your upbringing or your life do you think that you can implement the most or get the most out of to help in the convenience store realm?
I think that it doesn't have to do with convenience stores. I think it's just where I operate from today is not tailored to a specific industry.
Okay.
It's not just tailored to convenience stores or to imaging companies, or it's just tailored to business in general, because business is a game at the end of the day. So what I've had since I was a child that now plays a big role in how I do business in general is the fact that I've always been very stubborn. You can't tell me no. That fires me up when you tell me you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Watch me. It might not happen tomorrow.
Hold my beer.
Right? Like, it might not happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm coming, you know? And I've always been like that since I was a little kid. You can ask my mom. You can even ask my brothers. They'll always tell you, like, you couldn't tell this guy no. He always found a way to do whatever the fuck he wanted to do. And now that serves me so well in business, because in business, you almost have to be broken. You almost have to be crazy. Like, there's got to be something wrong with your ass at some point to fathom the thought that you're still struggling to make ends meet every Friday when it's payroll time. But you still keep going.
Yeah.
There's got to be something wrong with you. And that's served me so good.
There's got to be something different or something special about you. I don't know about something wrong, but there's got to be something different from you, you know, compared to everyone else or compared to the majority.
Well, there was this Olympic coach that, when he was asked what was one of the most like, what, how did they word it? What is one of the most special characteristics of these Olympic athletes? And he said that they were broken. That they were like a machine that was broken, that didn't have an off button. Like,
I see.
These fuckers just kept going and going and going, and you couldn't turn them off. They were broken.
Yeah.
And I resonated with that because I'm like that. And it's almost like I turned my addiction to alcohol to an addiction to working now. Like, I'm always working, whether if I'm not reading a book, writing on my journal. If I'm not writing on my journal, then I'm working on my relationship with my wife, or I'm working with the kids. But I'm always having to do something that makes me feel like I'm being productive, like I'm actually serving as a man, you know?
So it's interesting because you say broken. It takes something crazy, right, to go to that level. You know, Kobe Bryant, he used to start practice at 4:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
But practice started at 4:00 in the morning. He was warming up at 3:00 in the morning, because in the NBA, most of the time they practice twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
And he would say that because he wanted to be better, he would practice 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And so he would wake up and he would have his first practice, and then he'd practice with the team, and then he'd practice, after the other 2 times with the team. So yeah, I just wanted to say that because it takes being a little crazy.
Yeah, man. And look,
Yeah.
for the people that say that they're already working or redlining,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you'll reach that level until people are actually asking if you're okay. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I think you're being a little too intense.
Yeah.
Or why are you reading so much? Why are you learning so much? When do you find time to do this? Is when you should say, okay, I'm doing more than the average person. Until then, you can say it all you want. You can say, I am changing, I am being better. Yeah, you are. You are. But the change is happening at the average rate, which still won't give you that separation from the other people. So when you reach that level that people see you as being awkward, or, man, you're just too intense. Like, I get it. I get you have to read. I get you have to journal. I get you have to be better. But you also got to spend a little bit of time on yourself. Well, that is spending time on yourself. That is you changing, So I think until you reach that level, and I'm still not there. I know there's still a little bit more in the tank.
I think there's always going to be a little bit more.
Yeah, you have to. Like, every morning I wake up, my back's against the wall. Every morning, like, I know. And I was telling you, I was waiting for us to start shooting, but I've realized and become so much more aware of time now that I've been meal prepping. Why? Because every morning that I open the fridge to pack my lunch, I see I got 3 more days left of meal preps. Now I got 2 more days left. And the weeks, Renee, are going by quick, bro.
Yeah, so that makes you more aware.
More aware is when you have that structure. Mm-hmm. Like, I meal prep on Sundays. I got my shit laid out from Monday through Thursday. And it just goes by super quick. So that's when you become extremely aware of how much time you're wasting. Because sometimes it might be Wednesday and you haven't done crap. So I'm saying all this to say that I am guilty of sometimes not being as productive as I should, and that meal prepping kind of made me aware of that. I'm like, Alex, dude, like, really? 5 days is not a lot of time, man. Like, it goes by quick when you start to pay attention. So I want to challenge yourselves, man, to, like, really, really have an agenda, really have a workflow schedule.
A structure.
That says, hey, man, we're here at this time. We're podcasting at this time. We're out doing our guerrilla marketing at this time. We're talking to people. And, because fucking time flies, bro.
I agree.
And I saw it right now when you were talking to me. Like, that monster is coming out of you. And I love seeing that, bro. I love seeing that because, dude, for the people that haven't seen you since 2023 and that are going to meet Renee in 2025, they're going to be in for a ride, because they're going to look at you and wonder, what the fuck happened to this guy?
Yeah.
Like, where have you been?
Working on myself.
Like, where did you develop this all of a sudden? You want to come by, I'll show you.
Yeah.
You know, but don't expect for it to happen tomorrow. It's been a lot of work.
Yeah. Dive into my crazy life. Yeah.
But not only that, bro, like, even as a professional, you know, as an entrepreneur, as a father, as a husband, like, all those things are going to change. And I saw that today.
Yeah.
That's when you start waking up. That's when you start flipping the switch. When you become aware, you get angry. You get angry and you say, why the fuck not me? Like, what's so different about me than all the rest?
Mm-hmm.
It's that. It's the fact that I'm aware now. It's the fact that I know, and it hurts. And it hurts that I'm not changing. It hurts that I'm staying the same. It hurts that I see other people that I met 5 years ago that I told that I was going to do something and I haven't done it.
Yeah.
It hurts. But that's not going to be me again. You know, I am going to change. I'm finally going to stop following that list of things that are not doing the thing, you know? Yeah. And that's me too, you know? The reason we talk about these things is not to bash on anybody, is to make people aware, hey, this is where we're at too. But we are changing. You can change too. Only if you wake up, you can change.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I appreciate that, man. So in today's society, man, I know that and I know this, you know, for a fact, mm-hmm. Employees, this generation, mm-hmm. better said, this generation can be rather sensitive. Mm-hmm. So, what are you doing to deal with, like, let's say, for example, the rapid turnover rate in the convenience store industry, right? Because that's where we're getting this experience from. Mm-hmm. How do you do it to deal with that?
That's the byproduct of working on yourself. So for many people that are probably scratching their head right now and can't figure out why they can retain people, and we immediately go to maybe we should offer them a 401k, maybe we should give them some life insurance, or maybe we should give them a better compensation structure, or who knows what other things. Like, we always think about money. Well, how can we pay them more? Mm-hmm. It's not always about that. The leader has a lot to do with it. And like I was saying, especially the new generation, they don't want to work in a place where it's just about money. They want to work in a place that actually stands for something, that's doing something for the community. And they want to know that the leader that they're working for is a respectable person that's ready to lead and that's ready to take the company in a direction that's going to have an impact on the community. And a lot of it is done through your own personal change. A lot of it is done not by what you're saying, but by what you're doing. 20% of what you say, of the verbal communication, doesn't even matter. It's what you're doing. It's a nonverbal communication. 80% of what people actually retain is your nonverbal expressions. So something as simple as showing up at 6:00 in the morning, which is at the time we open at one of the stores, and not saying anything, but just showing up and being polite and being respectful to the fact that they also had to wake up at 4:00 in the morning to be there and open the store. I'm here with you.
Yeah.
It's not just you. I'm here too.
Leading by example.
Yes. Or seeing a cigarette butt on the floor and not calling them, hey, ven para acá y levanta. No, you pick it up. Because your job is not degrading, So I feel my approach to the whole situation also has to do with the reason I stay so driven about changing and always being better is because I know that maybe not right now. This is a slow transition, okay? This is a slow transition, and it's not going to happen tomorrow either. It takes time. But I know after 2 or 3 years of being this way, interacting with the employees, having those 10, 15 minutes of your time to actually coach them and mentor them, because you can now, because you actually have the experience, because you've been investing all this time into reading and learning about personal development. Now you can talk to them. You know, now you can say, yeah, I know I used to be an alcoholic, but let me tell you why you shouldn't, you know, and actually taking the time and going and grabbing something off the cooler and teaching them about reading a label, you know, or giving them a little bit of life experience. Those things go a long way. And the more I do this, the more I realize, yes, like this is the path. And while so many other leaders are so focused on what's the next self-checkout we're going to introduce, what's the next piece of equipment that's going to replace the employee, what's the next software, AI software that we're going to use to replace.
And that's what all the experts are saying, that's the direction that the convenience stores are going.
Yeah. I'm working on actually developing our people, but it takes time. Those are things that take time, but they pay well in the long run. And while everybody's playing the short game, I'm playing the long game. I'm trying to actually create a culture and in an environment where people actually want to come to work. And if they have an issue, they know we are just a phone call away and we can help, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's been my approach to the situation.
Good to go. And you know what? I want to commend you on the job that you've been doing, because I've worked for Fortune 500 companies that do not have they don't work on you working on yourself.
Yeah.
There's no time where they say, you know what, we're gonna you know, take this time to give you a book, you know, to read and improve yourself. I've never worked for a company actually. In my 43 years, I've been working since I was 16 years old. And that includes me, you know, with my company. I never did that with the employees that I had around me either. So I want to commend you, man, for thinking about everyone else as well, you know, and we all sit around the table here in the conference room, and we go over how to improve their own lives. And it's not just their lives at work, because we talk about it a lot, right? It's not just about your life at work, it's about your life at home, man, because that's where it all comes from, you know. If things are good at home, usually things are good at work.
Yeah.
So you know, thank you for allowing us for giving us the opportunity to work on ourselves and helping us realize how we need to work on ourselves. So thank you for that. One last question I have for you is, with the changing market trends, what do you envision for, let's say, 2024, 2025? What is a way that you want to grow in what I'm hearing is going to be the toughest time here, because there's going to be a little bit of a transition in 2024. What do you have in mind?
So be a little more specific.
So what are goals that you have for the company, for the growth of the company, in 2024, 2025 time period? Where do you see the company?
We definitely need to tighten up, because as we were reading yesterday on the daily newsletter, more and more people have extra income to spend on the Coke, on the snacks, you know. So we are definitely gonna have to, which is something that we haven't worked on, and I'm really gonna push for this year, is work on systems and processes throughout the companies, from, you know, merchandising to labor hours to extra expenses. So systems and processes are what make you or break you when you start to scale at a faster rate. Because if you don't have anything in place, it's like a skyrise. It's like trying to build a skyrise with not a strong foundation. You'll eventually get to like the 10th floor, and then it's just gonna crumble to pieces. So that's one thing that we've been very weak on as we've been growing this company. Is we've been growing and scaling, but we don't have any systems and processes in place. For example, credits, you know, when it's time to run credits on the merchandise, controlling overtime and payroll, which is a huge expense, even dealing with vendors, accounting, like all these things we don't have anything in place for. So I'm really going to push for that this year, because during these tough times that are up ahead, that'll be the deciding factor between the companies that stick around and the companies that don't, you know, because these are not times to just be, you know, throwing money away like we were able to do, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. Right now, things are going to have to get really tight, and we're going to have to get really good at running a very efficient operation.
Well-oiled machine. Yeah.
So as far as what we currently have, that's my goal. As far as scaling the business, it's been very frustrating. I'm not going to say no. But the goal is to at least, for the first time in our journey, get a ground up store built, or at least started before the end of the year. And that's also gonna pave the way. I'm sure we're gonna learn a lot once we get that done, but it'll become easier for the future locations to come. Now we'll be able to move a lot quicker through that process. But as for this year, I at least want to get one, so that we can get our feet wet. We can actually understand how the process works, who we have to work with, what are the steps, how long do things take, and all that. But we're very good at mastering the process, I feel, after the first one. You know, you get the first one done, and then you learn so much from that one that the next ones start coming, you know, faster and faster. So that's really my vision for this year, is to develop that foundation for the company, and to go through the process of a ground up store, so that we can be exposed to that process. Let's see how that works.
Good to go. Well, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to go, you know, into this next phase. I've learned so much, and I'm eager to continue to put it to good use.
I'm just wondering, what is your goal for 2024? When you look back, January 1st, 2025, what are things that you want to check off your list and say, I got these done?
So one big thing that we've been working on for a long time, that I've been working on for a long time. You worked on getting us the contract, and now I've had to put it together. And creating an app and creating a website for the company has been a real experience. It's taught me a lot of things, and seeing that come to fruition, and seeing it on other people's phones, something that I put together is going to be really interesting. And I'm eager to see that happen. I'm eager to see, that application making things more convenient for our consumers, and them making the most out of the promotions that we're going to have in our store. That's going to be really exciting. I want to see the growth. It's going to be amazing for us to be able to have the data accessible so that we can push promotion, so that we can create the geofencing and push specific promotions for the demographics in a certain area.
What are the things that you don't understand right now currently about the industry that you want to understand?
Things that I don't understand right now. Well, I know that I don't understand it because I haven't dealt with it yet. And that is like actually exactly what I was on right now is the geofencing. I don't know anything about how that's done right now. I know it's done, but the process of doing it, I don't know. So
what about merchandising a store? Like, have you seen, why is it that when you walk into a Circle K or a Speedway or a Murphy's, why is their store set up the way it is? How do they get their layouts to look that way? And what are we doing what are they doing that we're not doing? What is a key hire that we have to make in order to have that in our company? That person that's going to come in and say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. You don't lay out your store like that. This is the way you lay out your store. This is where you put the wine. This is where you put the beer. Mm-hmm. This is where you put the chips. This is where you put the hanging candy. This is where you put your king size. We don't have any regular size candy anymore. Mm-hmm. These are the promotions that you need to run. Why? Well, because this is what the data is showing. Like, do you ever wonder that?
Yes.
And how do they get their stores to look like that? Who within their team, who do we have to hire or where do we learn about this stuff? That's like, if you ask me, by the time 2025 comes, I want to know and have that mastered, because that is detrimental also to a company. When you talk about tightening up the operation, mm-hmm. It doesn't always mean to cut back. Mm-hmm. It just means to be more, be wiser with the decisions that you're making. Like, no me traigas, Kit Kats.
Yeah.
Bring me Reese's.
Yeah.
And give me a center display of 12 packs. Mm-hmm. Whatever. I want to learn about that stuff because they didn't get that way overnight. And I guarantee you that they also have somebody in their team. And if there's somebody listening to this shit that is an expert at that stuff, we're looking for somebody because we need it. So do you have something like that
no,
you wonder?
I do wonder. But I think a lot of that's going to fall on me. I think a lot of that's going to be my responsibility. But I think that there are systems out there that are pulling data from all over the place
and are helping.
That are helping that chief marketing officer establish those promotions, establish layouts depending on what product is moving better than another, mm-hmm. What the new trend is going to be because of the expos that are taking place, because of those national conventions that are taking place, and they saw this much hype because there's going to be this much that's going to be on the air. They're going to be pushing it this way and that way. So because of all that, then we can expect the trend that we're going to expect in our stores. So yeah, just becoming more in tune with everything that's going on in the rest of the the world, I say,
Yeah.
but in the world, in the rest of the industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we've been to a couple, but we're gonna have to go to more of those expos. Find out what the companies are going to be pushing, what they're excited about, and that way we can put it in our store and so forth. But impulse buying is a big thing, and I think that if we have too much room in a store and it looks very empty in a sense, then sure that creates the common environment, but by having more in a store, and it usually creates the sense of urgency in having to buy something, and creates the impulse buy because there's so much around them. I believe that in our store we've been pushing for having 3, 4, 5 feet in front of a cooler door, but I've noticed that in other locations, man, they've got 2.5 feet in front of a store because they've got so much in that store. So I think that that's somewhere we're gonna have to go, is stacking the gondolas a little more, having more product in the store, more options. So yeah, that's a thing that I think we need to change in 2024, and I'll be excited to see the fruit in 2025.
Yeah, we're gonna make it happen. So one last thing, at a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
When you look back in 2025,
Okay.
at a personal level, what are some things that you want to say 2024 was a year that I changed these specific things about me that I had been wanting to change for a very long time, and I just never pulled the trigger or made the decision, which means to kill off the alternative, that you want to change. And when you look back, you can say, I nailed it. I'm over that phase and I'm on to something better now.
I think I need to really dive deeper in getting to know myself a lot more, and I need to hold myself more accountable, and I used this example last time, because I find it impressive how a coach can have a horrible season and that season is behind them, and they're back to square one all over again to try to make that following season a winning season, a Super Bowl season. You see it in a basketball player. He missed that one shot. He's not kicking his ass the whole way down the court.
Is that something you do a lot or what?
Yes.
Okay.
And so he or that basketball player, sees that ball bounce off the rim, and hey, they're trying to get that ball back, and let's go up for it again. And they're not kicking their ass that whole time.
Why do you think you do that a lot?
Because I have a fear of failure. And I don't want to fail, and therefore I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I put a lot of critique on myself. So I need to become more comfortable with myself. I need to get to know myself in a deeper level, and I need to be proud of myself as well. Can't always focus on the negative, and I think just things that I've gone through in life have made me, in a sense, bitter and fearful of the failure, because I don't want to feel like a failure in everyone's eyes.
Yeah.
And because of just things that I've been through in the past, I fear of being talked about. And so my mind always races to people are talking about me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have that fear of failure. But I need to be more, what's the word? I need to be more sure of myself, proud of myself, and yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you've been spending too much time trying to make other people proud? And in a sense, might have been disrespecting your persona for a long time by not working on making yourself proud. Putting yourself first as the person you need to make proud instead of the other 7 billion people that don't even matter, because it's you at the end of the day that matters. So,
I'll tell you one thing that, not, I guess, trying to make everyone else proud and therefore, because you're trying to make everyone else proud, therefore you don't even get to know who the hell you are, because you're jumping from trying to please one person in one certain way, trying to please another person in another certain way, and trying to please another one in another way.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you never realize what you like, or what your expectations are, or what goals you can set, because everyone's been setting them for you.
Yeah. You fall prisoner to their thoughts and their expectations of you. And that's a huge disrespect to your persona, and this goes for myself as well. Trying to fit the expectation of others is a huge disrespect to who you are, already by default, you have to live with the understanding and make peace with the fact that 50% of the people you encounter are not going to like you.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Let's find that out really quick. Let's not waste any time. If we can't get along, we can't get along. It's in simple numbers, out of 10 people, 5 are going to like you, 5 are not going to like you. Let me go find those 5 that are going to like me, and we can talk and we can be better. But yeah, man, how are you going to do that? How are you going to work on getting to know yourself a lot more? Because if we don't plan that out, we'll look at 2025 and you'll be wishing for the same thing, in 2026. So how are you going to hold yourself accountable and make sure that when you look back, there was a paradigm shift in that respect?
Well, how does the saying go? If you're not doing, how does it go?
If you're just talking about doing the thing, you're not doing the thing.
If you're not doing the thing, you're not doing the thing.
Right.
So I think, I know that something I need to do is, they say that that knowledge is in books. So I know that I need to do more reading. I need to do more. There's so many. We're doing it here. We're trying to help others in entrepreneurship and life of entrepreneurship, and we're trying to help them by what we're saying to them, by the knowledge that we're speaking on this podcast. And so other people put that knowledge in books. So I'm going to have to go to a book, read a book. And
what's the first one you're going to read? And when are you going to start? Because I want to start a show on that. You want to shoot every week, and I want to do it too. Mm-hmm. I want that to be part of our routine. Mm-hmm. But I actually want it to be fruitful. I want for people to be tuning in, let's say on Wednesdays, for example, that they know we're going to talk about a specific book that we're reading, and we're going to break it down. We're going to give them our thoughts. We're going to let them know how we're applying it in their lives and how they can do the same, So I'm
going to go back and I'm going to read all over again I'm gonna read the 4 agreements.
All right, let's do it.
And then see how that speaks to me this time around.
Okay.
And yeah, and
how much time do we have to read it?
We can talk about that next week.
We have 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
So today's Tuesday. So next week on Tuesday, we'll talk about the book. That's a powerful book too, man. I think a lot of people, and it's such an easy read. It's a small, but man, it's a powerful book.
Yeah, I agree.
It's powerful.
So yeah, start there, and then I wanna dive deeper into the marketing world. Okay. I need to educate myself a little more in the actual, just what the bigger corporations and chains are doing, the books that they've written about certain things, or the books that they've written about convenience stores. I want to dive deeper into marketing for those people that have been doing marketing a certain way or the new way, or so. I need to get more in tune with those things, because although I've been doing a lot of it, but I believe I have to do a little more, and it's not about recreating the wheel, because somebody else is out there is probably doing it, and I might, I know I'll get a lot from listening to somebody. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Well, we're committed, and I think we also should develop that workflow chart for us. Mm-hmm. And if it's something, once we see it, start paying us forward and be fruitful for us, and we can even start sharing it with the listeners, and if it's something they want to adopt, if it's something that they want to introduce to their life to be more productive, then hey, man, that's why we're here, to help everybody else, be better and be more productive as well.
Yeah.
So, well, it was a good talk, man.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a good talk.
I didn't expect you to turn it around on me. I thought I was gonna talk about you and interview you today, and you turned it around on me, and it threw me off.
Threw you for a loop.
Yeah.
No, man. I mean, I'm always gonna be pushing you to be better, man. If there's something that I'm passionate about, is making sure. I just don't want to go through this year. I'll put it to you this way. I want to go through this year with the least regrets, when we turn the page to 2025. I want to feel like we actually made as much progress as we could, because we were intentional, because we were constantly pushing one another and pushing the rest of the team. Because I'm sick and tired of that. I'm sick and tired of getting to the end of the year and feeling like it all just went to waste. Yeah. I don't want to be in that place anymore.
Yeah.
So the good thing is that I know what not to do. And what you shouldn't be doing is talking about doing the thing.
Yep.
You got to do the thing. So that's why, man, like, I just want to make sure that we're pushing one another continuously, positively peer pressuring one another to just be better, man.
Yeah.
But with that being said, guys,
the trials and tribulations of a podcaster.
And with that being said, guys, thanks for tuning in to the show. Like we always do, remember, the price doesn't go to the fastest guy. The price goes to the guy who slows down the least. Keep your back against the wall, stay driven, and we will catch you on the next one.
Peace, guys.